At ReadWriteWeb, we listen closely to hundreds of blogs on a wide variety of different topics, thousands of people on Twitter, but the first step in listening is the application of some machine filtering to, in most cases, rely on some crowdsourcing of to determine what might be bubbling up in the niche fields of interest amongst topic specialists, and then that sort of leads the horse to water, and we make the final judgment on determining whether to pick up from there, from the crowd, from the machine filters, and then engage in the traditional journalism.
Now, I know you've been first to a lot of stories because of those tools that you're using out there, and also you've got your electronic ear to the ground, I know, with a lot of alerts out there. In terms of applying the tools to visualize or make some sort of presentation of what's out there with data, how are you seeing that evolve, and how are you using it at ReadWriteWeb?
Well, I think that we're just in the early days of transitioning from more traditional journalism into data-savvy and design-savvy journalism, and that's something that we struggle with. We use off-the-shelf free services in most cases. We've got a community of people that are real interested in helping us design visualizations sometimes as sort of a reciprocal exchange of value. We've got a traditionally acquired audience that new people with new skills are happy to plug into by helping and doing visualizations for us, for example. But we're still figuring that out. And I think that you're going to see a whole lot of things change dramatically over the next couple of years. People have said that the journalists today need computer science and multimedia production and all kinds of other skills in addition to traditional journalism. And I think that the reality of those requirements are settling into everyone's standard expectations and skill set, and so it'll look real different in a couple of years than it does today.
I'm looking at the evolution of hacks and hackers and seeing all around the world, really, that those groups are coming together, seeing the programmers and the journalists are learning from each other more and more. What do you think of this evolution of infographics and data visualization in general? Do you think that serves the audience well in terms of teaching?
I think that it does. I was skeptical at first, thinking that infographics were just lightweight and pandering and eye candy, but I think that they're really a different language, a way to communicate things that just can't be communicated as effectively and efficiently in explicit written text. And so I think there's a wide variety of different ways that visualization and infographics can be done. Some that do feel pandering and lightweight, but others I think that really deliver unique meaning and value to audiences that couldn't have been delivered in any other way.
One of the things that I liked seeing the most this past week was the launch of something by USAID, this usaid.gov/forward. They're trying to integrate social and open source mapping. And what's interesting is that basically is a live infographic that has the open data behind it exposed, which is, I think, a great way to show your work, so to speak. It's not just a static infographic. Mapping is something we've talked about before in terms of being a way to show data in a different sense and help people to make sense of it. What are some of your favorite data mapping tools when you try to pull those together?
Well, for mapping, the tool that I use most often is one that we've discussed before called Needlebase, which is now a Google property. And one of the things that Needlebase is a point-and-click DIY database creation tool that will scrape web pages and then visualize the data that was extracted in a variety of different ways, spreadsheets and maps. And so there are some instances when geocoded data exists in a large enough quantity that there's no better way to ferret out a story than to say, put this on a map for me. So that's one of my favorite tools, and I use it every chance I get.
Well, Marshall, thanks for coming up and talking to us here. I know you'll be here throughout the day, so if people want to get a live pulse on what's happening at the Strata conference, follow @MarshallK, and of course read him at readwriteweb.com. Thanks, Marshall. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex.